Welcome to Episode 8 of the CySA Plus Prepcast. In this episode, we're focusing on a crucial component of the exam experience, multiple-choice questions. While performance-based tasks assess your ability to apply skills in simulated environments, the bulk of the exam will be made up of multiple-choice items. That means developing a solid strategy for reading, analyzing, and answering these questions is essential to your success. Today, we'll walk you through field-tested methods to help you manage your time effectively, avoid common traps, and increase your accuracy. Multiple-choice questions on the CySA Plus exam are more than simple knowledge checks. They are carefully crafted scenarios with answer choices that may appear similar at first glance. These questions test your ability to distinguish between good and best answers, as well as spot technically accurate but contextually irrelevant ones. Each question typically presents one correct option among 3 or 4 distractors, and your challenge is to identify the most appropriate response based on the situation described. The first key to success is reading the question thoroughly. CySA Plus questions often include rich scenarios with important context embedded in the wording. Rushing through a question could cause you to miss critical phrases that change the meaning entirely. For instance, whether a question asks for the first action, the best solution, or the most likely explanation can significantly shift which option is correct. Taking a moment to ensure you fully understand the request is always worth the time. If a question seems long or dense, break it into smaller parts. Look for the core question being asked, and then examine the supporting scenario. Focus on identifying the key words that define the intent. Words like least, most appropriate, primary, or initial help narrow down your options. These qualifiers are not filler. They determine what type of decision you're being asked to make. Identifying these indicators will guide your thought process and help avoid misinterpreting the prompt. Once you understand the question, move on to the answer choices. Begin with a quick scan of all options before deciding. Eliminate any that are clearly incorrect. Removing just 1 or 2 wrong answers increases your odds dramatically if you need to make an educated guess. This process of elimination is not just about removing what's wrong. It's about clearing mental clutter and sharpening your focus on the remaining options that require more careful evaluation. Pay close attention to answer choices that contain absolute language. Words like always, never, or only should raise a flag. In cybersecurity, very few things are absolute, and most good practices depend on context. Unless the question directly supports an extreme position, answers containing absolutes are often incorrect. Use this as a filter when narrowing down your choices, especially if you're torn between 2 options that otherwise seem reasonable. Conversely, correct answers tend to be balanced and aligned with recognized cybersecurity best practices. Think in terms of frameworks like MITRE ATT&CK, the NIST cybersecurity framework, and principles like least privilege or defense in depth. These standards form the basis for much of the content in CySA Plus, and the exam tends to reward decisions that follow this structured, standards-based logic. Relying on these mental models helps validate your answer choices more confidently. An important test-taking mindset is recognizing that not all technically correct answers are appropriate in the given context. You may see answer choices that are factually true, but irrelevant to the scenario presented. For example, using encryption is generally a good idea, but if the scenario is about preventing privilege escalation, choosing the answer about encryption would be missing the point. Focus on what the question is truly asking, not just whether an answer sounds accurate. When a scenario-based question feels particularly tricky, try to mentally place yourself in the role of the analyst. Ask yourself, what would a well-trained cybersecurity analyst do in this situation? Thinking practically rather than abstractly can help guide you to the right decision. Many questions are based on real-world analyst workflows, so visualizing the situation as if you were experiencing it firsthand can provide valuable clarity. And remember, not every question needs to be answered immediately. If you encounter a confusing or complex question, use the exam's built-in feature to mark it for review. Move forward and return to it later. Often, questions you answer later in the exam may jog your memory or provide helpful context that clarifies earlier uncertainties. Managing your time and attention wisely allows you to make the most of every minute during the test. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are more security courses on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. One of the most effective ways to prepare for multiple-choice questions is regular timed practice. The CySA Plus exam gives you approximately 1 to 2 minutes per question, depending on how many performance-based tasks appear. Practicing under those same time constraints helps build pacing habits and trains your brain to operate efficiently under pressure. Even if you understand the material, being able to apply it quickly and decisively is a skill in itself, and one that only develops with experience in a timed environment. When working through questions, make sure you focus entirely on what the scenario provides. Avoid making assumptions or inserting details based on your personal experience unless the question clearly implies them. Many questions are designed to test your understanding of best practices, not your memory of past work scenarios. Anchoring your answers in the actual question data ensures consistency and objectivity, which are essential for navigating the subtle distinctions between similar answer choices. Some multiple-choice items intentionally include extraneous technical detail to distract or overwhelm. These long-winded scenarios can obscure the real issue being tested. In these cases, hone in on the central question: what is the problem and what is being asked of you? Then return to the scenario and match relevant data to the question's goal. This top-down approach reduces the chance of confusion from unnecessary information and ensures you stay focused on solving the actual problem at hand. When stuck between two options that both seem plausible, rely on logical deduction and consistency with standard cybersecurity principles. Cybersecurity often has predictable reasoning patterns. For example, defense in depth is a layered strategy, so answers that reflect layered responses tend to be favored. Similarly, options that reflect reactive rather than proactive security may be less desirable. Unless the scenario specifically demands a response to an active incident, relying on these frameworks provides a logical way to navigate uncertain questions. The comparison strategy is especially useful when you've narrowed down the answer to two likely options. Break down what makes each one different and connect those distinctions back to the original question. Ask yourself, which of these directly answers the question as it was asked? Often, one answer will be broader while the other is more specific, or one will align more closely with established policy or procedure. This reflection makes the best choice more obvious and prevents over-reliance on surface-level recognition. Your instinct also plays a role. In many cases, your first choice is correct. If you've been studying and practicing consistently, that instinct is built on a solid internal model of cybersecurity logic. Changing your answer should only happen if new information becomes clear, not from a vague feeling of uncertainty. Excessive second-guessing often leads to selecting a wrong answer after having originally chosen the right one. Trust your training and have confidence in the patterns you've learned through repeated exposure. One way to improve your exam day intuition is to familiarize yourself with the common themes and question styles found in CySA+. Over time, you'll begin to notice how questions are structured, how scenarios are worded, and what types of distractors are commonly used. Recognizing these patterns speeds up the question analysis process. You'll know what to look for and where to focus, which saves precious seconds and reduces decision fatigue across the full length of the exam. When you finish the full exam with time remaining, use those final minutes to revisit any questions you marked for review. Approach these with fresh eyes and a calm mind. You'll often notice something you missed before or interpret a detail differently after completing the rest of the test. However, resist the urge to change answers arbitrarily. Only modify your original choice if you can clearly identify a misunderstanding or overlooked keyword that justifies a different response. Maintaining composure is one of the most underrated yet critical test day skills. If you begin to feel rushed or overwhelmed, take a brief pause, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and refocus. This short mental reset can help you regain clarity and prevent stress from compounding. Even a 5-second pause can make a substantial difference when facing particularly tricky or dense questions. Calm thinking supports better decision-making, which leads to improved accuracy. Finally, remember that every question on the CySA Plus exam holds the same value, 1 point each. That means your goal should be efficient progress, not perfection. Answer the ones you know quickly, flag the ones you're unsure about, and avoid getting stuck for too long on any single question. Managing your time in this way ensures you cover the entire exam and gives you the best possible chance of reaching a passing score through cumulative performance. To summarize, mastering the multiple-choice portion of the CySA Plus exam requires a thoughtful blend of careful reading, strategic elimination, logical comparison, and confident pacing. Each question is an opportunity to apply what you've learned in a structured, scenario-based way. With consistent practice and a disciplined approach, you'll increase your accuracy, reduce stress, and walk into exam day fully prepared to succeed. Keep listening to the Prepcast as we continue breaking down every critical skill you'll need for CySA Plus certification. Thanks for listening. To learn more about cybersecurity, please visit baremetalcyber.com. There you will find best-selling books, videos, and even more free cybersecurity training courses. Please subscribe to the Prepcast and our various podcasts. And thanks for listening.